Goodness with care from our villages. Arokya Milk.
Welcome to episode 19 of Mahabharata with Anuja. Now in the last episode I told you about how Duryodhana had been slain, which means that the battle was officially ended, or so they thought. And after he was left there, the Pandavas, accompanied by Krishna and Satyaki, they decided to go check out the Kaurava camp to see if there were any survivors. All of them went there. They found the spot completely deserted, and Krishna asked Arjuna to take all his weapons and step down from the chariot. It was quite an unusual request, but Arjuna did as he said, and Krishna also instructed all of them to move away from the chariot. And when they did that, Krishna got down last and the chariot just exploded, and absolutely nothing remained of it, just a small handful of ash. And this was the beautiful golden chariot which was given to Arjuna by Agni. And he was very sad to see it reduced to ash like this. And Krishna explained to him. He said, you know, in a battle, it's a common strategy to try and somehow compromise the mobility of your enemy. So all of them attacked your chariot, you know, and some of them like Drona and Karna, they used celestial weapons and they were quite successful. It was only my presence which held the chariot together. But now you will have no further need of it. And Arjuna nodded and he agreed with whatever Krishna said, but he couldn't help feeling that this was a premonition of disaster. And sensing their mood, Krishna said, don't burden yourselves with grief-stricken thoughts, so just calm down, let's spend the night here, we'll rejoin everyone in the morning. And Krishna very cleverly, he saved them from certain death. Meanwhile, the three surviving members of the Kaurava army were Ashwatthama, Kripacharya and Kritavarma. They went to visit Duryodhana, and seeing him lying there with his mangled thigh and at death's door, they were all very, very sad. Ashwatthama especially was heartbroken. He said, it's like experiencing my father's death again. This is so unfortunate what happened to you. You were a prince among men. You lived in so much grandeur, and to see you reduced to this, it really breaks my heart. And when Duryodhana told them that Bhima had cheated and all that, Ashwatthama swore to take revenge. He said, I will make the Pandavas pay. I will make them pay for the death of my father. They used deceitful means then, and they've used deceitful means against you as well. I will avenge, you know, both of you. And Duryodhana was very pleased. He named Ashwatthama as the commander of his army, and the three of them took leave. They retreated some distance away from the Pandavas. They found a dense forest and they took shelter there. Kripa and Kritavarma, they slept at once because they were exhausted, but Ashwatthama was too upset and he kept tossing and turning. And then suddenly he looked up and he saw, you know, there were lots of crows gathered above. They had their nests and all the hatchlings were sleeping peacefully. And just the sight of their, you know, slumber really irritated Ashwatthama. And suddenly at that moment, an owl appeared. It was a large owl. And very silently, it attacked and killed all the crows. Now, the crows could not see very well at night, so they were like sitting ducks in a manner of speaking. And soon the ground was littered with the carcasses of all these crows. And Ashwatthama had a very, very deadly idea right then. He woke up Kripa and Kritavarma. He said, I've figured out how to defeat our enemies. And he told his plan. He said, the Pandava army, they would have all been celebrating, they would have been drinking freely, all discipline will be forgotten. Let's go there now. You know, it's like the darkest hours of the night. They'll all be passed out. We shall kill them then. And Kripa was horrified to hear this. He'd known Ashwatthama from when he was a little boy. He would have played with this nephew of his. He would have loved him. He couldn't believe such evil words were coming out of his nephew's mouth. He said, see, you've been named commander of an army of, three. That's like, you know, very desperate, and it makes you do horrible things. Just take some rest. We'll discuss all this in the morning. And Ashwatthama said, no. Either you're with me or you're against me. If I have to do this alone, I will do it. And he started walking away. Kripa and Kritavarma, they just looked at each other. They were clueless about what to do, and they just started following him helplessly. And when they reached the camp, it was just as Ashwatthama had said. There wasn't even a single sentry awake to do guard duty. All was in stillness, and Ashwatthama approached the camp. And suddenly there was this very, very scary apparition in front of him, a massive fiend, and there were weird deathly sounds emanating from it. But on that night, Ashwatthama was the most dangerous person in the world. He was not remotely scared. He picked up his bow and he started releasing a whole lot of weapons. None of it would harm the apparition. So he built a little, sacrificial altar, and he started praying to Shiva. And Lord Shiva appeared before him. He said, I was protecting this camp because Krishna is my favorite devotee, but their lifespans have run out. All the people who are sleeping in, their hour has come. Go and do your deed, Ashwatthama, but be prepared for the consequences. And with these words, Shiva left the camp, and Ashwatthama would not be swayed. He did not even hesitate. He went in. He had a dagger in his arms and in his hands, and as luck would have it, in the first tent he entered, he found Drishtadyumna, the man who was responsible for the death of his father Drona. And he grabbed him by the hair and just pulled him out from his sleeping mat, and he started kicking him. He was wearing these heavy footwear, metal shod footwear, and he just started stomping on his chest, and he could hear the ribs crack. And Drishtadyumna came to, and he saw death, in the form of Ashwatthama, and he said, he didn't flinch. He was a very brave man. He said, give me a warrior's death, plunge a sword into my heart and put an end to it. And Ashwatthama said, you do not deserve a warrior's death and all. A dishonorable creature like you, responsible for the death of your own guru, and that too you used foul means to do it. So he just crushed poor Drishtadyumna to death, and the pride of the Panchala clan was killed that way. And like this, Ashwatthama went into one tent after the other. Shikandin died, and the Upa-Pandavas, Draupadi's sons by the 5 Pandavas, they were also killed like this. And he just slaughtered so many sleeping people. And meanwhile, Kripacharya and Kritavarma, they started setting fire to the camp. At different points, they started setting fire, and all those and then they placed themselves at the entrance as well as the exit. So, all the people who tried to flee from the flames, they were knifed down by these two. And in this manner, all the survivors of the Pandava army, just a few hours back, they would have all been celebrating joyously. They would have been so happy to have survived in the battle of Kurukshetra. They would have all been looking forward to going back home and meeting their loved ones. And all of them never rose to see the dawn. Mercilessly, they were all slaughtered. And when the sun rose in the morning, all that remained was huge piles of ash. And Ashwatthama rubbed his hands in satisfaction. He said, I've done what I said I would do. I have no regrets. And he went and reported to Duryodhana. Duryodhana was very, very happy. He said, you've achieved what Bhishma, Drona and Karna failed to do. Thank you very much. And then just before he died, he said, it's still unfortunate that they all died in their sleep. And he passed away. And Kripa said he's going to go off to perform penances because he was just sick about what he'd done. He was consumed by guilt. He said, it's time for me to, leave this place. I will go and do something to cleanse my soul of all these sins. And he left. Kritavarma decided to return to his family. He did not want to be there anymore. Only Ashwatthama remained, and he took off into the forest. And meanwhile, when the Pandavas and Krishna, Satyaki, when they returned, they were confronted with these remains, and the sole survivor was Drishtadyumna's charioteer, and he was crying, and he said, I don't know how I alone was spared, but this is what happened. And immediately Yudhishthira, he just collapsed in a faint, and when he came to, he said, what am I going to do? How will I face Draupadi? How will I go tell her that her mighty brother Drishtadyumna is dead? How am I going to tell her that every single one of her sons are dead? What is she going to say? How will I comfort her? And they were all just, utterly traumatized. And Nakula went and fetched Draupadi. When she came there again, she was so angry. She said, haven't I been through enough? Do I have to be alive to see this also? And then she said, you have to bring me the head of Ashwatthama. He has to die. He's a sinner. He slaughtered people who were asleep. Go find him and kill him. Would he have been able to do this while they were, awake with their weapons in their arms? He has to be punished. You have to bring me his head. And Yudhishthira immediately he tried to pacify her. He said they paid the price for their carelessness. They should have been more alert. This is a battle camp after all. Besides, Ashwatthama has gone into hiding and he's our Guru's son. It will be a sin to kill him. And Draupadi turned to Bhima. She said, I'm sick of your brother's discourses on dharma. You do the right thing. You know what needs to be done. Find Ashwatthama and kill him. Otherwise, you all will all lose me forever. And she sat down in the Padmasana position, which is the lotus position. And she said, I will fast unto death if you all don't punish Ashwatthama. So immediately Bhima took off on his own, and Krishna called Arjuna. He said, don't let him go alone. Ashwatthama is very, very dangerous. And so they also pursued Bhima, Krishna, the rest of the Pandavas. And Ashwatthama, when he saw them approach, he released the Brahmashras. Very, very, very powerful missile. It was unstoppable. And to counter it, Arjuna also released the same Brahmashras missile. And immediately all the sages gathered, Vedavyasa and Narada, all of them gathered. They said, if the Brahmashras is released like this, the three worlds will be destroyed. It will remain barren, nothing will grow on this land ever again. Do you know what the two of you are doing? And Arjuna felt bad. He had that mental discipline and he had a good heart. So he was able to revoke the mantra and he called back this missile. Ashwatthama wasn't in the same league as Arjuna, he couldn't do it. So he directed the missile towards Uttara's womb. He said, let it go and reside there. And Krishna was furious. He stepped forward. He said, it's bad enough you murdered sleeping men. Now you've stooped to the level of killing an infant who isn't even born yet. He said, you will be cursed, Ashwatthama. There's a jewel on your head given to you by your father, which keeps you safe from hunger and pain. You will be deprived of that. The wound will never heal. Your body will be covered in sores and they'll be oozing pus. Civilized people will want nothing to do with you. You'll be rejected by society and they'll all pelt you with stones and you'll live like this forever. It was a dreadful curse and Ashwatthama was absolutely dejected. He walked away from there and before he left, Bhima reached out and he grabbed the gem on his head and he said, I will present this to Draupadi as proof, and he left. And when this gem was presented to Draupadi, she said, I'm very content. He deserved all this. I'm happy Krishna cursed him. And finally she got up. They all returned and it was time to perform the funeral rites of everyone who had fallen. It was a very, very lamentable sight that followed. All the ladies who'd lost their husbands, their sons, their brothers, they were all weeping and there was the sound of crying was everywhere and none of them could bear it. And Dhritarashtra and Gandhari came to the scene, that old couple, and their grief was just more than they could bear. Gandhari said, at least one son of mine they could have spared. And Dhritarashtra just couldn't accept that Duryodhana had been, killed in the way he had. The mace had smashed his thigh, Dushasana's arm had been ripped out, so he was outraged by what had happened. And sensing his anger, Krishna was very, very cautious. Yudhishthira was the first to approach him and Dhritarashtra embraced him, but without any true affection. Next, it was Bhima's turn. And Krishna pushed him out of the way and he placed a huge iron statue of Bhima there. Duryodhana would have had it built to practice when Bhima was in exile, and this was placed in front of Dhritarashtra and he embraced this iron statue and it just crumbled to dust in his arms, and immediately he said, I've killed my brother's son, and he pretended to be sorry about it. And then Krishna said, don't worry, I put a stop to your plan. That was not Bhima, it was an iron statue. You know what you did was wrong, you know what your sons did was wrong, so please forgive the Pandavas. And Dhritarashtra immediately stepped back. And next it was Gandhari's turn, and though her eyes were blindfolded, she peeked out from beneath and she saw Yudhishthira's perfectly formed feet, and they say his nails immediately turned to ash. So great was her anger. And Arjuna, that great warrior, he was so scared on seeing this and of Gandhari's wrath, he went and hid behind Krishna. And Gandhari's anger, it somehow cooled down after that, and she embraced Arjuna. She consoled Draupadi and Kunti also, and then she turned to Krishna and she said, all this is your handiwork, Krishna. Feast your eyes on your masterpiece. This is your fault. Okay, see, the entire race of the Kauravas have been destroyed. I hope you're happy. One entire generation is gone. Our line is almost completely destroyed. Are you happy? And then she said, wait and see, the same thing will happen to your race. The Yadavas will also annihilate and completely destroy each other, and you will be left alone, and that's when you will meet your own death. And Krishna wasn't at all upset. Arjuna was upset on his behalf. Krishna just looked at her very calmly. He said, my race is invincible. It's fated that they will meet their death at each other's hands, and I am not afraid to go. And he told Gandhari, stop cursing everyone, control your temper. I warned you and your husband, you all didn't listen then. No need to blame anyone now. So the two of them were consoled and they backed off, and the funeral rites were performed after that. And finally, it was all concluded under Vidura's directions. And just as they were winding up, Kunti said, you have forgotten to offer worship to one soul. And Yudhishthira said, no, everyone's covered. And she said, no, you should offer prayers for Karna. He was my firstborn son and your brother. And Yudhishthira said, what is this? Don't tell me we are guilty of murdering our own brother. Tell me what this is all about. And when she told the story, Yudhishthira was very, very upset. They say he cursed Kunti and said, from now on women won't be able to keep secrets. But I think women can keep secrets. So I think he just meant women share a lot of stuff with each other, and that's what happened. So they finished the rites after that, and then Yudhishthira had this whole crisis. He said, see, I'm responsible. I have so much blood on my hands. I do not want this kingdom. And finally, his brothers, Vedavyasa, everybody gathered and they advised him. They said, we've done all this for you. Don't walk away from the kingdom now. Do your duty. And Krishna told him to go meet Bhishma. He said, Bhishma hasn't died yet. His father has given him a boon. He'll die only when he wants to. And because it's an inauspicious time, he hasn't passed away yet. So they all went there. Bhishma was in a lot of pain, and Krishna blessed him. He said, you'll know peace from now. You won't suffer from any more pain. And Bhishma felt very refreshed after that, and he was able to advise Yudhishthira on how best to run his kingdom, and he gave him such valuable information. And once this was received, all felt better. Bhishma blessed them, and he said he will depart the world shortly. And the Pandavas finally, they were ready to make a triumphant return to Hastinapura. Yudhishthira was installed on the throne. Draupadi was his queen, and Bhima was named as the heir apparent. Arjuna obviously got the command of the army. Nakula was in charge of helping him, and Sahadeva was kept close by Yudhishthira to serve as his protector. And Vidura became the chief minister, and Sanjaya was the treasurer. And all of them were finally settled down peacefully for a nice, long, golden reign. And I will conclude the episode right here. I hope you liked it. Do share your thoughts with me in the comments section, and you know what to do. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.
Goodness with care from our villages. Arokya Milk.